week after the largest immigration raid in a decade. We're in a small Mississippi community that's still feeling the impact in a big way. How businesses are dealing with the fallout. Electric scooters have taken over across the country, and now mopeds are coming next. We're looking at the safety concerns this brings up, though. And we've all felt frustrated at work, maybe even cried. A lot of people admit they're actually doing it, when career experts say it's concerning.
Thank you, Annie. Welcome to the Now Indy on RTV6. I'm Amanda Starantino. And with food deserts all over Indianapolis, the city is trying to get serious about finding out what causes them and how to fix them. The city of Indianapolis is looking for a person or company to help 3 local grocers across the city, as well as look into possibility of a 4th. The 3 grocers the city wants to help are A&I Variety Meats and Produce, Cleo's Bodega, and the Rock Fresh Market. A 4th one could open in the area of 30th Street and Central Avenue, bringing more grocery options for the people of Indianapolis who really need them.
It's a serious problem. The study in 2018 showed that about 200,000 people live in food deserts in Indianapolis, and places like Cleo's Bodega, which opened recently, are helping to fight that problem, but it's going to take time and it's going to take different avenues of approach.
The study is currently scheduled to be completed by September of 2020. And Hiring Hoosiers is an RTV6 initiative to connect you to job and educational opportunities aimed at a long-lasting career. It's a hot summer, and if your HVAC system goes out, you won't be staying cool, but students at Pike High School are learning how to fix those problems. High school students are getting classroom to career ready by learning how to install, operate, and maintain HVAC systems. They are also figuring out how to handle mechanical and electrical problems. Through their 2-year course, students will gain college credits and certifications through the EPA and OSHA. Those in the program say this helps them prepare for life after graduation.
Even if I do go to college, this is a good fallback plan I can go into. I can always go back to it and work for companies because now I have my license in it, and this is a skill for life that I can always use.
And looking at the need for workers in the HVAC industry nationwide, the federal government is projecting a 15% growth in mechanics and installers by the year 2026. Alyssa, it looks great outside right now.
We are seeing some beautiful weather today. We are seeing some calm conditions, partly cloudy skies this afternoon, plenty of sunshine, and we are going to continue that for the first half of tomorrow. Indianapolis right now at 82 degrees. We're at 77 in Kokomo. Bloomington at 81. We're seeing some clear skies there. Most of us just starting to see a little bit of that cloud coverage ahead of a front that's going to move through tomorrow. That wave will bring us the potential of a few spots, stray showers and thunderstorms by the afternoon, but just a small chance of those. Tonight, we are going to see those calm conditions and pleasant conditions, partly cloudy skies with low humidity. Temperatures will drop into the 70s, and then tomorrow we'll be into the mid-80s with partly cloudy skies and a small chance of thunderstorms.
When children are back in school, possible health and behavioral issues become more noticeable. Today, we're learning about the lack of support for an increasingly common issue with children, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. ADHD affects about 8% of children, and that number is more than the mental health system can manage. This is according to the American Academy of Pediatrics. A new government report finds that some 500,000 children on Medicaid are getting medications for ADHD. But the problem is many of those kids aren't getting appropriate follow-up care. So recommendations are for those starting medication to be evaluated weekly, but that doesn't have to be in person. It can be a phone call between the doctor and a parent. Behavioral pediatrics doctor talked about the issue with that scenario.
Clinicians would like to do, but do not get adequate payment for that from be it Medicaid or private insurance. And so those who are conscientious in doing it are doing that at their cost or charging parents separately for it. And I think that's been a big barrier in getting the appropriate follow-up care.
An in-person checkup should happen within a month. They're important because doctors need to see if medication is working, if there are any side effects, and make dosage adjustments if needed. Children on ADHD medication should also get behavioral therapy, but half on Medicaid are not. Kids that get both are said to have the best outcomes. All right, let's start the news feed. Israel will not allow 2 U.S. congresswomen to visit the country. The prime minister said today Representatives Ilhan Omar and Rashid Tlaib are not welcome, reversing a prior decision to allow them in. But this comes after President Trump had pushed Israel on Twitter to not let the pair in. The British territory of Gibraltar says it will release an Iranian tanker. The ship has been detained since July. It was suspected of carrying oil to Syria. That should be a violation of EU sanctions. Well, the numbers have been confirmed. July was officially the hottest month ever. Places like Europe and Alaska saw abnormal temps. NOAA says the high temperatures led sea ice in both the Arctic and Antarctic to shrink to record lows. All right, back to our lineup. First, it was scooters. Now, electric mopeds you can rent are coming to more cities. This on-demand transportation is popular, but it means roads across the country are getting more crowded. The safety concerns now are rising.
RTV6 is working for you.
NASCAR legend Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his wife are okay and in the hospital after they were involved in a plane crash in Northeast Tennessee. The plane carrying Earnhardt Jr. and his wife crashed at an airport in Elizabethton, Tennessee as it landed. Now, this is close to this weekend's NASCAR race in Bristol, Tennessee. It's still not clear what caused the plane to crash on the runway at the airport, but again, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his wife are okay this evening. And legendary former Colts quarterback Peyton Manning continues to have an impact on kids here in Indiana. Today, the Peyton Manning Children's Hospital officially opened its second emergency room for children. This one at St. Vincent Hospital in Evansville. Peyton was there yesterday to help cut the ribbon on the facility. The new Peyton Manning Children's Hospital will offer specialized pediatric emergency care for kids in the Evansville area so they can get treatment closer to home. And soon, other outpatient and inpatient pediatric facilities and services around Evansville will also bear the Peyton Manning Children's Hospital logo. Of course, the first Peyton Manning Children's Hospital is on 86th Street in Indianapolis. Annie.
Transportation options are growing. Shareable bikes, electric scooters, and now mopeds. Corey Rangel with the transportation trend that's driving up safety concerns.
So this is the newest fleet for Washington, D.C. So 400 of these vehicles will be hitting the streets over the next couple days.
Starting this weekend, people around D.C. will be able to rent these electric mopeds. 1,000 of them are already in New York, and the company, Revel, plans to expand to other cities.
The benefit is really simple. The way that you have to think about it, this is almost always at least half the cost of an Uber or Lyft and twice as much fun.
They are part of a growing number of transportation options people can use a cell phone app to rent, which also includes electric scooters and bicycles. Last year in the U.S., people took 84 million trips on these types of bikes and scooters. That's according to the National Association of City Transportation Officials. However, the influx of rides is causing safety concerns, with some worried the vehicles will add to the congestion on the roads.
If you're having to be aware of either a cyclist, a scooter rider, now a moped rider who may go in between cars, which you're not supposed to be doing, you have to be careful and watch out for each other as you're using these different modes of operation.
Jeanette Tejeda de Gomez with AAA says research shows moped riders are more likely to be injured or die by walking, biking, or in a car. But Revel says helmets are included with each rental. Riders have to be at least 21, have a driver's license, and the company screens the rider's driving record.
From our first couple of months operating in New York, in over 300,000 rides, 99.99% have happened without incident. And we understand that safety record doesn't happen on accident.
On-demand transportation, now a driving force for new ways to get around. In Washington, D.C., I'm Corey Rangel reporting.
Corey, thank you. Well, back to our lineup. The largest immigration raid in a decade happened a week ago. But the fallout is just beginning.
I feel pretty bad because the same happened, but 10 years ago when we was living in Laurel, it was bad for the business over there too. It's going to be the same here too.
We're in Mississippi, seeing the impact firsthand.
RTV6 is working for you.
One of the towns hit hardest in the largest immigration raid in a decade is still feeling the impact a week later. Kai Beach takes us to Morton, Mississippi, where they are coping with the emotional and economic impact.
It was a tragic situation. There's a lot of children that were crying, and you know, it separated the people up.
Sunday morning in the Deep South.
Only light can drive out darkness. Only love can drive out hate.
And in Morton, Mississippi, the community is split after a massive immigration raid.
It's a good thing to get the illegals out of the country. If you want to come here legally, then by all means do that, but don't try to come here illegally.
It's creating division, and I believe that we do not need to divide the people that are here.
680 arrests were made during last week's raid, the largest in more than a decade.
Some family don't know about her family. The kids are crying for her dad, mom.
Leslyn Carzares says her uncle and aunt are two of the hundreds of people now facing deportation.
How people can do that? The people don't do anything. They come to right here for work.
Many of those taken away by immigration officials worked here at the Cook's food processing plant.
Kids come home, their parents gone. They don't know how they gonna survive, what they gonna do.
This man didn't want to say his name, but did say he's worked for Cook's for 13 years and that this raid has impacted productivity there.
When nobody at work, the plant was empty. Most of the plant is Mexican anyway. By them not being there, they really overworked a lot of the other people, like the blacks and whites or whatever,
Everybody disappeared, It's like a ghost town. You don't see a lot of people outside.
Grocery store owner Juan Garcia says his business is suffering because this raid has taken away many of his customers. And the ones left, well, they're too scared to come out and shop.
Yeah, I feel pretty bad because the same happened, but 10 years ago when we was living in Laurel, was bad for the business over there too. It's going to be the same here too.
In Morton, Mississippi, I'm Kai Beach reporting.
Thanks, Kai. Well, we're talking about breaking the social stigma to a global health concern right now. Obesity. It's a disease that has many layers and can require different treatments beyond just diet and exercise. And it's not just the general public that can have a negative perception of heavier people. Sadly, it happens in doctors' offices too.
So in many ways, they're as uninformed as the lay public. And so it makes sense that they have a range of misperceptions and misbeliefs and judgments about people who are heavier.
Dr. Scott Kahan is the director of the National Center for Weight and Wellness. Now, he helped publish a guide for physicians to treat and support patients looking to manage their weight. It's acronym based on the first 6 letters of the alphabet. It starts with a doctor asking permission before talking about weight.
Rather than just sort of diving into it, which might make people uncomfortable and might make patients not want to talk about it.
The guide goes on to help doctors address the root causes of obesity, follow evidence based on counseling guidelines, determine a patient's health status rather than just focus on size, escalate treatment when appropriate, and follow up to help support a patient through roadblocks. If you don't feel comfortable talking to your doctor about your weight or they don't seem knowledgeable, there are other resources. The Obesity Action Coalition and Obesity Society both have clinical directories online.
Well, it used to be a bad alternator or water pump in your car would cost a couple of $100s to replace. But that's not the case anymore. Working for you, John Matarese looks into one common repair that can now cost thousands.
It should be a simple, inexpensive car repair, replacing a water pump, which is common when a car hits 100,000 miles. But on some Fords, a lawsuit claims that simple repair can cost as much as $5,000. This 2011 Ford Flex is parked at a repair shop in need of a very expensive fix. It belongs to Lawrence Huckabee, who discovered a small problem could now cost him big bucks.
Started losing antifreeze, started overheating, and I just thought that it had a small leak or something like that.
But it wasn't a small leak. The water pump was failing. But the problem with many Ford Flexes, Edges, and a few other vehicles is that the water pump's inside the engine, not on the outside, as with most cars. Where's the water pump here?
This one's actually inside the engine itself. So when they fail, you don't get any idea about it.
Mechanic Bill Cook says a simple coolant leak can ruin the engine.
Instead of being nice, clean, brown oil, it looks like a chocolate milkshake. It's a mixture of water and oil. That's bad.
With most cars, replacing a water pump is a simple job, shouldn't cost you more than $500, but not if you have one of these vehicles. What's the cost?
$3,000 to $5,000.
This photo, courtesy of CarComplaints.com, shows the hours of work required to replace the water pump.
I can't afford that.
A class action suit filed last fall is asking Ford to help owners of vehicles with this Duratec engine. But unless that happens, Lawrence says he can't get his Flex back on the road.
No, I don't make that kind of money, and with my daughter being at home and disabled, there's no way that we can afford anything like that.
Ford told me the company does not comment on lawsuits. However, it has agreed to help out in this one case, so there are many more. As always, don't waste your money. I'm John Matteries for RTV6.
And you're looking live at the Indiana State Fairgrounds right now. We have a beautiful evening, great evening to get out there. As we head through the evening, temperatures are going to drop off into the 70s. We'll be into the 60s by tomorrow morning. 82 right now in Indianapolis. That humidity at 49%. Those winds out of the west-northwest about 13 miles per hour. So you could see that little breeze out there on our camera moving around. And as we head through the day, we are going to see that cloud coverage that you saw out there diminish. So we're going to see high pressure in control the rest of the evening, and then we're going to see clear skies overnight. That's ahead of a front that's going to move through tomorrow. What that's going to do is bring us the potential of some spot showers and a stray thunderstorm possible by tomorrow afternoon. So we're going to start our Friday morning partly cloudy. Some areas are going to be a little cooler to start just because of those clear skies overnight, allowing for that overnight cooling. And then by the afternoon and early evening, a small chance of those showers and thunderstorms will move through just as that wave pushes across. We'll be left with partly cloudy skies for your Friday evening, and then we're going to continue to see just a stray shower or storm possible nearly every day in the 7-day forecast. Tonight, 63 for the high. Tomorrow, we are going to be into the mid-80s with that small chance of showers and thunderstorms. Looking at the rest of the week, temperatures are climbing for the weekend into the 90s. Chances of a stray shower or thunderstorm nearly every day in the 7-day forecast.
Checking in with the Now News feed, UPS is taking another step into the self-driving industry. It's now a part owner of a company that develops autonomous vehicles. UPS has been testing self-driving trucks since May. An unusual find by TSA agents at Nashville International Airport. They discovered a box cutter in a bra. Agents say attempting to conceal items can lead to a civil penalty and a potential arrest. Well, fall is almost here, and that means it's time for pumpkin spice season. But that trend may have hit its end. Hormel says it will launch pumpkin spice Spam. It's a limited edition and will come out September 23rd. Well, this might be a new term for a lot of us. Ghost kitchens. They're starting to pop up around the country as new ways to get the same food from familiar restaurants. Chris Welch explains.
Naf Naf is a Middle Eastern grill.
We're known for our fresh-made pita.
He has restaurants in 6 states, but in his newest kitchen, CEO Paul D'Amico is trying something different.
It's very unique to train your staff that they'll never see a customer. It's a very, very different business model.
Some are now calling these ghost kitchens, strictly a place to cook. No servers, no dining rooms.
I've been operating restaurants for 35 years, and they are capital intensive, they're high risk, and they take years to come out of the ground. This is the complete opposite of that.
This was a culinary school location originally, and the culinary school closed, and it was perfect for us because it's a bunch of kitchens in a big building.
A bunch of kitchens sharing one big space. That's Kitchen United. It feeds the demand of a growing number of millennials, they say, who want to eat restaurant food but stay at home.
We're really kind of at an intersection in a shift in the way consumers are dining, and because consumers are dining in a new way, the restaurant industry can serve consumers in new ways.
The company operates locations in Chicago and Pasadena, but is now expanding, part of an evolving landscape in the food industry.
Maybe one day the drones are going to land at Kitchen United and take our food out to the masses. That would be awesome.
Reporting in Chicago, I'm Chris Welch.
Thanks, Chris. Well, finally in our lineup, we've all felt frustrated at work from time to time, right? Well, you may have even felt like crying, but a lot of people admit they're actually doing it. Why this is concerning career experts and the changes you may need to make at your job. You're watching The Now.